The stench of sulfur hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the fiery womb from which Anya emerged. Unlike the rest of her Amazonian sisters, sculpted from clay by the divine potter Hephaestus, Anya was forged in the heart of volcano by Ares, the god of war himself. He craved an army unlike any other, a legion of warriors that embodied his unyielding ferocity. Thus, the Amazons were born a fierce tribe of women who thrived on the hunt, honed their bodies into weapons, and worshipped only the clash of steel. Anya wasn't just trained for war, she breathed it. Her playground was the training grounds, dotted with craters left by explosive demonstrations of divine power. Her lullaby was the roar of a distant battle, echoed through the hidden valleys that housed their fabled city. She wrestled with grizzled veterans twice her size, learned swordsmanship from the most fearsome warriors, and honed her archery skills under the watchful gaze of Artemis, the huntress goddess. Yet, amidst the iron-clad discipline and the relentless pursuit of martial prowess, a flicker of curiosity, an ember of forbidden desire, flickered within Anya. The world beyond the Amazonian borders, shrouded in myth and whispered legends, gnawed at her soul. One crisp dawn patrol along the perimeter of the Amazonian territory, fate took a sharp turn. A guttural growl, more from a beast than a man, pierced the morning stillness. Anya, muscles tensed and senses tingling, pushed through the undergrowth, her spear held high. What greeted her wasn't a monstrous beast, but a young Athenian warrior, sprawled unconscious at the base of a gnarled oak, his armor dented and marred with blood. The Amazons, bound by an ancient oath of non-interference with men, usually left such encounters to the elements. Yet, a strange emotion, a tremor in her otherwise steely resolve, stirred within Anya. Hesitation gnawed at her. This warrior, a lone ember lost in the vast forest, seemed worlds apart from the tales of arrogant Athenian men she'd heard. But a deeper, more primal instinct took hold, a flicker of compassion for a creature so vulnerable, so utterly lost. Defying the voice of caution that screamed of punishment and exile, Anya knelt beside him. His face, framed by sun-bleached hair, was etched with pain, but there was a hint of defiance even in unconsciousness. Checking for a pulse, Anya found it weak but present. The weight of her transgression settled upon her like a leaden cloak as she carried him back to the hidden Amazonian city. The city, a labyrinthine maze of carved caves and towering statues depicting legendary warriors, seemed to hold its breath as she entered. News of Anya's transgression spread like wildfire through the subterranean network. The queen, Hippolyta, a woman whose very presence commanded the very earth to tremble, summoned Anya. Anticipation clawed at Anya as she approached Hippolyta's throne room, a cavern resonating with the echoes of past battles. She braced herself for the harshest punishment, perhaps even exile to the desolate wastelands beyond their borders. But to her surprise, Hippolyta merely observed her with an unreadable expression, the flames flickering in her eyes reflecting off her polished bronze armor. Anya, her voice rumbled, echoing through the cavern, "Explain yourself." Anya poured out her tale, the simmering curiosity that drove her to investigate the source of the growl, the inexplicable flicker of something akin to pity that she felt for the young warrior. Hippolyta listened patiently, the flames in her eyes seeming to flicker with an emotion Anya couldn't decipher. Finally, the queen spoke. "We may not condone contact with men," she said, her voice heavy with the weight of centuries of tradition, "but this warrior is not our enemy. Tend to him, and when he recovers, we shall return him to his own kind." Relief washed over Anya, a wave so powerful it threatened to drown the embers of curiosity that still flickered within her. She nursed the young warrior back to health, a tense dance of unspoken emotions filling their shared space. His name was Theseus, and as strength returned to his body, a camaraderie, a connection forged in the crucible of vulnerability, bloomed between them. They sparred, exchanging combat techniques that had been honed in vastly different cultures. Anya marveled at the fluidity of his swordsmanship, while Theseus gaped at the raw power and precision of her archery. They shared stories of their vastly different worlds, Anya learning of the glory and chaos of Athens, its bustling marketplaces and vibrant intellectual discourse, while Theseus listened with rapt attention to tales of Amazonian independence and their fierce dedication to self-reliance. When the day of departure arrived, the air hung heavy with an unspoken longing. Anya helped Theseus back into his armor, her nimble fingers lingering on the polished metal a moment too long. He met her gaze, his own filled with a mixture of gratitude and something more, a spark of recognition, perhaps, of the unspoken bond that had grown between them. "Thank you, Anya," he said, his voice rough with unspoken emotions. "You are unlike any woman I've ever met. A warrior, yes, but with a heart that holds the vastness of the sky. May our paths cross again, under more peaceful circumstances." Anya watched him disappear into the verdant embrace of the forest, a knot of emotion tightening in her chest. Back in the Amazonian city, the clang of steel and the shouts of warriors during training seemed muted, hollow even. The world she had always known, the only world she'd ever known, felt strangely confining. The stories Theseus had shared had planted a seed in her mind, a yearning for something beyond the regimented order of her Amazonian life. Sleep became a battleground, haunted by dreams of sun-drenched Athenian rooftops and the echo of Theseus' laughter. The whispers of the wind seemed to carry tales of bustling marketplaces and the clash of ideas in Athenian discourse. The once familiar routine of training felt monotonous, a chore rather than a source of pride. One moonless night, under the cloak of inky darkness, Anya made a decision that would forever alter the course of her life. Stealing away from the city, she packed a meager bag, a waterskin, a handful of dried fruit, and her prized hunting bow, a weapon that was an extension of herself. Leaving behind the only home she had ever known, Anya ventured into the unknown, a lone warrior woman in a world dominated by men. The journey south was fraught with danger. Lush forests gave way to unforgiving mountain passes, and the once familiar scent of pine needles was replaced by the acrid tang of salt as she neared the Aegean coast. Hunger gnawed at her stomach, and the constant vigilance against wild beasts tested her endurance. Yet, with each step, a strange sense of liberation bloomed within her. Finally, after weeks of relentless travel, she reached Corinth, a bustling port city teeming with life. The cacophony of shouts from merchants, the rhythmic clang of hammers from a nearby shipyard, and the laughter spilling out from taverns assaulted her senses. Men, a sea of unfamiliar faces, thronged the cobblestone streets. Anya, cloaked in a traveller's garb and her face obscured by a worn hood, felt a surge of adrenaline and a tremor of fear. Here, in this city that pulsated with life, Anya would carve her own path. She would navigate a world far different from the one she left behind, a world where men held the reins of power. Yet, she was no ordinary woman. She was Anya, daughter of Ares, a warrior forged in fire, and the embers of curiosity that had flickered within her were now a raging inferno, propelling her forward into a future as uncertain as the stories whispered on the wind.